Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve. And, the rabid left has turned their unsuccessful attempts at indictments from President Trump to his sons, to his family, if you could believe it. And look, they're so desperate to catch someone named Trump that they've turned to their only weapon, which is the legal system, and it's backfiring completely. So you may know that as the indictments of President Trump fall apart, now they're going after his sons and his business, the Business of Trump organization, which his sons have taken over for him. And with everything that they're doing to take Trump out, blowing up in their faces, Tucker Carlson recently asked Trump this. Tucker was actually concerned, will their next step be attempted assassination once they realize going after his sons won't work? I mean, think about it. Think about everything that Trump is dealing with right now. He's now embarked on his third campaign for U.S. president. He's facing multiple phony court cases. His Trump enterprises are under fire. His sons are in court. And now there are open concerns over attacks on his life. Now, as concerning as all of these things may be, what's fascinating to me, and I'm certain you feel the same, is how on earth is he doing this? What kind of mental fortitude does Trump have to endure these kinds of trials? Yes, pun intended. So as we seek to be a mass movement of courageous patriots, this type of leadership that we're seeing from number 45, soon to be number 47, and his sons is something worth exploring and considering as an example in our own lives of leadership as we build up the parallel economy, whether it be in our own contributions to parallel businesses or leading our children in parallel schooling, standing out at our jobs where we stand alone in our beliefs. There's something important that we could be learning here from the Trump family as they persevere through these trials. Now, to evaluate this trial with the Trump brothers and to analyze some key takeaways we can make here, I've invited executive leadership coach Ken Jocelyn to weigh in. Ken is a patriot and the CEO of Grow, Stack, Drive, where he trains leaders in how to reach their fullest and most powerful potential. So, Ken, welcome. Great to have you here, my friend.
Man, it's good to be with you, my friend. I had not heard that quote from Tucker. I'm actually going to be speaking at an event next weekend in Vegas during F1 with Tucker next weekend. So looking forward to that. But man, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's an honor to have. Yeah, I was just in Mar-a-Lago with number 45. You're going to be with Tucker. I mean, it's just awesome to be able to just cross-pollinate with these guys. They're incredible people. Yeah. So now the Trumps obviously have been through a lot over the last 8 years, a lot of trauma, a lot of betrayal. What's your assessment? You're on the front lines of leadership. What's your assessment of this latest trial with the Trump brothers and the example that they're setting of leadership through this, going through the pain of this witch hunt on top of everything else they're enduring?
Well, I think anytime you try to do something that goes against the trends, you're going to pay the price. And obviously, I think, President Trump's 77, 78 years old. So this isn't new to him. Now, it may be new to him at this level because of really what he's trying to do. But I think anytime you try to buck a trend, you try to basically disrupt what's been going on specifically here in Washington, that's been going on so long on both sides of the aisle. Anytime you try to do this, you're opening yourself up. You literally have a bullseye on your back. And I think with what he's went through, you talk about betrayal and trauma. I think with what he's went through, what his family as a whole have went through, I think number one, anytime you want to do something great, you better consider and count the costs before you do it, because you're going to pay a price. It's not going to be easy.
Right. And it's not, you don't even have to be president to recognize that, right? You could just be faithful at your job, just standing up for what you believe. And you're going to be doing, I should mention, you're going to be doing an online free training on leadership on November 16th, 3 p.m. Gang, if you want, just click on the link below, get a little sneak peek. We'll talk about it more as we go along, but you'll definitely want to register for that. Ken's amazing. What is your overall assessment of the leadership qualities that we can kind of glean from with regard to what President Trump embodies?
Yeah, and I think it's I think number one, it's fortitude. I think it's literally there is a resilience there where he absolutely does
Yeah.
not quit. And I think one of the most resounding qualities that I see from leaders, and I work with some of the top entrepreneurs in the world. I mean, guys that are billionaires. I mean, literally, I just left Sundance, Utah last week. I was with some of the top
Wow.
entrepreneurs in the country at our 4-day, 3.5-day retreat at Sundance in Utah. And I would say the one characteristic that I see out of the majority of these guys is they're just
Mm.
resilient. They do not quit. They understand a concept that I talk a lot about: incremental, not monumental. Small daily disciplined decisions over time always equal
Wow.
monumental results. Success can't escape you when you do the right things every single day. And I think what you see in President Trump and his family is they will not quit in the face of everything that is going on, all of the arrows and the bullets per se, the things that get fired at them from the media, sometimes from their own
Right.
party. When you as an entrepreneur or a leader, you have a belief in something that is very high, you understand the cost, you're willing to pay the price, and then you move forward in resilience and consistency. And that really is the only thing that is going to allow you to see that vision or that thing that you've got in your heart
Right.
come to pass.
Right. Oh, I love it. That's yeah, that's so cool. I mean, when you're talking there, I'm just thinking about all the things that he did. I'm just one of the first things he did, the Abraham Accords, where he's bringing Jews, Muslims, the Jewish world, the Muslim world, and the Christian world together. It's half the world's population right there. That's one of the first acts that he did. Of course, those accords have unraveled since with the incompetence going on. Or the first American, I believe, first Western leader to step into North Korea, to actually walk into North Korea, hand in hand with this North Korean leader. I mean, it was just thought impossible.
Well, you can tell he's not Steve. He is not
Right.
afraid. He is not afraid to bridge a gap
Right.
that's there. He's not afraid to look. It's almost Reagan-esque when he talked about the
Yeah.
axis of
Yeah.
evil. Like, he's not afraid to look at something and go, no, we hear this is what is going on, but the reality of it is this is what's going on. And I'm not afraid to take a step, whether you agree with him, don't agree with him. He's like, listen, I'm going to North Korea. I'm going to have a conversation with this guy. We're going to sit down. When you're a master negotiator, and because otherwise, what are you left with? What are the possibilities and the opportunities you were left with? I thought in his first presidency to be able to do that. I mean, it's not like Dennis Rodman going over there and spending a couple of days with King with him. It's the president's going, no. I want to sit down. I want to look you in the eye, man to man, leader to leader, and I want to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I remember Rodman getting actually really choked up when he came out there, and he said he never dreamed an American president would be hanging out with Kim Jong-un. He couldn't believe it. Yeah, that's what happened. I think when you bring, and this is what you're always working with, the people you're working with, when you bring that entrepreneurial vision, that creative genius that all entrepreneurs have to have into the Oval Office. Not these idiot lawyers. Sorry, no offense to lawyers. My daughter's studying law right now. So, but just these lawyers who just, I don't know, they couldn't make it in law, so now they're trying to make it in politics, and they become one of the 435 members of Congress who control a $3 trillion budget. That's a lot of power. They always end up millionaires that way. But when you bring in just this entrepreneurial imagination into the Oval Office, it was pretty astonishing what he was able to achieve, breaking through, literally, like you're saying, breaking through those norms and those barriers. And then, but of course, there's going to be a blowback to that among the the deep state and the swamp and so on.
I mean, it's been that way for so long. You know that you just can't come in and really affect change unless you're willing to upset a few people, which is exactly what he did. He literally showed what it would look like to have an entrepreneurial mindset in the Oval Office. And literally, now I could have used a little more statesmanship from him. Would have probably been good for me as a man of faith. But but just watching what he was able to do with his entrepreneurial background, being able to even coming in. I just spoke 2 weekends ago. I was at Grambling University. So it's at one of the HBCUs. My good friend Hugh Jackson, who's one of 14 African-American NFL head coaches with the Raiders and the Browns. I just spoke to Coach Hugh's team. But even one of the things that Trump did was bringing in the funding for HBCUs and left that open ending. Like those are things that just number one, he doesn't get credit for, to be honest with you. But those are things that like he literally was somebody that wanted to bridge a gap and be able to help people. When he saw things that were right to do, he did things that were right to do. And when he saw things that were wrong, he wasn't afraid to voice and go, this right here is not correct and should not be happening.
Right. Absolutely. And HBCUs are excellent examples of parallel economies and parallel institutions. Gang, Ken is doing a free online training November 16th, 3:00 p.m. Just click on the link below to register and become the leader you were always meant to be with Ken's training. He's amazing. You have a quote on your podcast where you say that your level of impact and influence will only be equivalent. I love this, by the way. This is so Christian. Mm-hmm. It will only be equivalent to the level you choose to tolerate pain. Mm-hmm. So in other words, through we don't find God's will despite the cross, we find it through it. Mm-hmm. So go for it.
I was at dinner. I was at dinner with about 12 church planters. I had just planted and pastored a church in 2010. There was about a dozen. We were with Craig Rochelle, who pastors Life Church in Oklahoma City. It's one of probably the largest church in America with all the campuses. And we had a dinner with Craig, and Craig told us, he said, guys, every one of you guys here wants influence. You don't do ministry. I still do ministry. I just do it with high-level entrepreneurs now. He goes, listen, every one of you guys, everybody wants influence. Everybody wants impact. We've been talking about Trump. Look at his impact and his influence. And this is what he said that night, and I've never forgotten it. He said, guys, your level of influence and impact will only be equal to your ability to be able to tolerate pain. And when you talk about being a person of faith and you look at what Jesus went through, that he went through all he went through because he loves you and me. He created us as sons and daughters. And he was willing to go through the pain in order to see that influence and impact at its greatest
and
level.
The more the pain, the greater the love. It's just magnifies. It has it knows no end. The more he's spit upon and mocked and ridiculed, the greater the love radiates in the act. Yeah. Our audience often asks the question, what do I personally do? So our audience, and you know this, Ken, they're not interested in just throwing the proverbial brick at the television. They want to do something. Yeah. They want to make an impact. They want to bring this nation back to where faith, family, and freedom are flourishing in every aspect of life. So when you talk about the equivalence of pain tolerance to impacting and influencing culture, what does that look like specifically for everyday Americans who just want to return to a life of faith, family, and freedom?
Well, I don't know if you've got room in here to put up my picture of where I've lost 82 pounds in the last 3 years. But it's been a journey for me. We talk a lot about our core five inside of our GSD community and our mastermind. And I'm speaking to 400 DSO owners this weekend. Next weekend, I'll be in Vegas with Tucker speaking at the Risk On 360 conference. And I talk a lot about faith, health, relationship, business, and finances. Because there's a lot of us, we see people who win, Steve, in business and finances, but they neglect the faith, the health, and the relationships. And they're left with one of two things. They're either left with a successful business and a lot of money, and they're miserable because they have no faith, they have no health, and they've ruined all their relationships. Or their business and their finances crumble because they don't have a solid foundation. So I would say the pain is and should be, number one, you trying to become the best version of yourself every single day. How can I become 1% better today in my faith? How can I tomorrow set up a health goal? That's what I did. People ask me all the time, say, man, how did you lose 80 plus pounds? So it was really easy. I stepped on the scale one time and it said 308 pounds and I was disgusted with myself. So I took a before picture And I got on the scale, I took a picture, and I put it on my social media. And I'm like, I'm losing 66 pounds. Well, guess what? Now I don't have a choice. Like, I have to do it. And so I just walked through a 2.5 to 3 year process to drop 80 pounds. And then the discipline and all the things that the consistency it takes to be able to do that in my health. And I'm telling you, when an individual, you want to become the best version of yourself, you want to become an amazing entrepreneur, you want faith, family, and freedom to really rule and reign in our country, you become the best version of yourself in your faith, health, relationship, business, and finances. And you watch what God does in and through your life.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know if you know, I lost 60 pounds over the last year. So I'm with you, man. We were on that journey together. Absolutely. And it feels amazing.
And it's a journey because, Steve, there are weeks you hit plateaus. Right. You'll hit a plateau and then you're like, okay. What I've learned is one of my affirmations, and I'm going to teach this in this webinar. One of my affirmations is I will live a life where my heart, head, and relationships are in alignment. My heart's where I dream. It's where God paints it's a blank canvas every day of what I want my life to look like. My mindset, unfortunately, is where I have fear, insecurity, scarcity, comparison, shame, all the things that keep me from succeeding. But I learned 3.5 years ago that when my mindset, when my heart and my head are in alignment, I start seeing the things come to fruition. And when that started happening for me, Steve, what I saw the relationships start coming in alignment. Doing great things, and you start growing and becoming just 1% better in those core 5 areas, you'd be amazed at the relationships that God brings in your life for you to be able to do and complete what God's put in your life and in your heart for you to do.
Oh, it's beautifully put. Yeah, and it's ancient too. I mean, it goes back to the this ancient concept known as cosmic piety. That's what scholars call it. But it's just simply the assumption that all cultures had when during the age of the Bible and so forth, that we were born into a world of divine obligation, and we were supposed to conform our lives into a harmonious relationship with that divine obligation. And then, of course, Christ is the Logos who comes in and bridges that gap between us and God, and brings us back into an Edenic alignment with God, and restores our relationship with God and with our neighbors, and with the world, and with creation. And it just seems like you're tapping into this time-tested way of living out life. Leadership really is at the heart of the parallel economy. We're all talking so much about just happening very organically as patriots are stepping out, pushing back on what we know to be very detrimental for society, and establishing our own parallel alternatives, which is basically what the Trump brothers are doing. So it's no easy task. It is hard, and it is very discouraging. So when you talk about, creating your own economy, where do you see leadership playing a role in this?
It's huge. When you look at every time that we have a recession, it's always the greatest wealth transfer in the history of the world happens every time we have a recession.
So true.
Every time.
Yep.
But there's also some of the greatest ideas and greatest things that happen. You look at 07, 08. I was in real estate back then. You look at 07, 08, 09, Airbnb, a little thing called Uber, a little thing called Venmo. You look at all these different companies that start. Do you know that Disney was founded the year the stock market crashed?
Wow.
Disney was founded the year the stock. There's so many ideas and things that God puts in the hearts of patriots to be able to go do this. And you're looking at, I had a mentor friend of mine who's a billionaire, and he said this during the pandemic. And it was right after they did the $1.8 billion stimulus. And he said this, he goes, people are out there afraid that there's no money. Like, how am I going to get money? How am I going to make money? Can I start a business? He said, think of it this way. There is $1.8 trillion more in circulation right now in our economy than there was 6 months ago.
Right.
When he said that, something clicked in me, and I went, oh my, it has nothing to do with what the government says I can do or the regulations that are placed on me. No. God, you put the creative ability on the inside of me to come up with an Airbnb idea or a Venmo idea, all these different companies that come out of these moments of recessions, a Disney, an IBM. I mean, I could go on and on and on
Yeah.
and list over the past 100 years, all these businesses and ideas and this vision that have been placed in people's heart to create these unbelievable companies have all come through times of recession and times where it's hard. And all these are simply ideas and vision that God's put in people's heart.
I love it. So November 16th, 3 p.m., you're going to be doing a free training. You could just register by clicking on the link below. Give us a little teaser of what to expect if we sign up for this free training.
Yeah, we're gonna walk through how I have helped entrepreneurs from high 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure, and even 9-figure entrepreneurs walk through becoming the best version of themselves in our core 5 areas, which is faith, health, relationship, business, and finances. What does it look like for me to win in every one of those areas? And when we talk about 1% better, and how do we take my good friend John Maxwell, which I'm sure you know, Dr. John,
of course, yeah.
We've been friends for over 20 years. He's spoken at my last 3 conferences. He opens up my Create conference in Atlanta every year. John says, show me your daily routine and I'll tell you how successful you're going to be.
Yeah, it's true.
Another thing John says is, show me who the 5-6 people you hang out with the most and I'll tell you how successful you're going to be. So we're going to really just kind of unlock some, not I wouldn't say hidden things, but just unlock some things that when you look at it, you're like, well, Ken, this really isn't this hard for me to be successful and live a significant life. And it's really not. It all boils down to, what am I doing in my life every single day?
I love it. Absolutely love it. And gang, I mean, we see Donald Trump, we see his sons. They're being persecuted all the time. And yet, no matter what, they've remained victorious. And they've been able to, no matter what they throw at them, they're able to stand tall. And one of my favorite characteristics, all of them, they stand tall. And at the end of the day, they smile. They kind of just wipe off the dust. Right. So we all know the real story, and their leadership is an example to us all. If you're a leader in the workplace, in local organizations, just in your home, in your church, what have you, Ken Joslin is holding a free training for you this upcoming week to help you become a monumental leader. November 16th, 3:00 p.m. I believe that is a Thursday. So just click on the link below in the description below to register for today. Ken, you're the best, man. We'll have you back real soon.
Thank you, my friend.
God bless.